everybody. It's Elysabeth Alfano. Thanks for being with me. Today, I'm going to have the radio show take a page from my podcast, The Plant-Based Business Hour, because we are going to get into it and talk about restaurants and how vegan options are changing and growing all across the globe with principal of Happy Cow. Oh, how we love Happy Cow, Ken Spector. So he's going to join me in just a second. We're going to get into all things restaurant statistics, which is so fun. But if you are with me every week on WCGO radio, then you know I like to start the show with some plant-based news. Oh my gosh, there's so much of it. Hold on to your bootstraps, folks. I'm going to put on my sexy librarian glasses and take it away from here. So here are some stats from Vegconomist. I'm reading it from my phone, not stats, sorry, headlines. I'm reading it from my phone because gosh darn it, there are so many. This is just to show you how the world is on fire right now, which is so very, very wonderful. Okay, Just Egg is launching in Canada. How fun is that? Beyond Meat enters the Brazilian market and expands further into China. I'm just reading these off because there's so gosh darn many of them and they're all affecting us personally. El Pollo Loco reformulates its plant-based chicken, making it appropriate for vegans at all 485 locations. This is so much fun for me. IKEA UK relaunches its plant-based version of its famous meatballs. So now they're going to be vegan. All right. Mars, we know about the candy bar, which is so fun, but now they have launched a chocolate drink that is based in oat milk because the oat milk craze just continues to go off the charts, which is so fun. Cargill officially launches its Plant Ever line in the Chinese market. Glad to see Cargill is getting with the program, switching its product lines. Love it. More and more tennis shoes, workout shoes are going vegan. Adidas had a vegan shoe. Robert Federer did a vegan shoe. And now Jaden Smith with New Balance is doing a vegan shoe. Love it. Starbucks has launched a non-dairy creamer with Nestle's in the US. It is really a fun time to be vegan. For those of you who might be thinking about getting vegan, getting plant-based, doing it 80% of the time, 40% of the time, 50% of the time, working your way into it. I do want to say on August 8th, I'm going to have my Jumpstart Your Plant-Based Life class. Just go to elisabethalfano.com/recipes. You can sign up there. It's a 3-hour class. I'll give you all the tips and tricks you need to start your plant-based journey. Everything from a personalized menu to cleaning up your kitchen, getting out the bad stuff, putting in the good stuff, that shopping list, and some life hacks so that the next time you go to a party, you are prepared. Bring your plant-based stuff, which is so fun. Okay, one last bit of news before I bring on Ken. Oh, we've heard Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's gone vegan. Okay, so Kentucky Fried Chicken just delivered this to me today. It's still warm. It is Beyond Fried Chicken from Beyond Meat. Hold on, I'm having trouble opening the box. Oh my gosh, I can't be trusted. Okay, you hear all that opening. Look at this, folks. Look at this. Kentucky Fried Chicken. That is Beyond Meat, which is so fun. And I'm going to eat it. Just don't think I'm not. I'm going to eat it right here on radio, which is so fun. And this kind of ties into my next thing. I hope you all are taking pictures. Yum. Beyond Fried Chicken. I hope you're taking pictures of your plant-based party, #plant-based party this weekend, starting tomorrow through Sunday. And I'm going to be taking lots of pictures of my Beyond Meat Fried Chicken because up to $40,000 is going to be donated to support and feed, which is so important. And also Reverb. These are organizations that are helping people get food, healthy food, vegan food, when we're struggling so much during COVID. So I love #plant-based party. I love taking pictures of it. I have to bring on my guest now so that I can eat because he's going to do the talking and I'm going to do the eating, which is so fun. I want to bring on Ken Spector, principal at Happy Cow. Ken, thanks for being with me.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm so happy that you're here. So you are also involved with #plant-based party. I am going to get to eating, folks. Yeah. So tell me how this came to be and give us maybe some more details about who we can really support with this program, which I love.
How Plant-Based Party came to be?
If you know any of the details.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, please.
I became familiar with Plant-Based Party because of Maggie Baird. She's Billie Eilish's mom, the famous pop singer.
And a wonderful person.
She told me about it, and Rose over there. There are a number of women who work for Support and Feed, which is an organization which supports vegan restaurants in 3 cities, California, Los Angeles area, Philadelphia, and New York. And they actually, I just spoke with some people over at Support and Feed, and they're actually taking donations from large companies, and they're using that money to feed vegan meals to people in need, whether they're homeless people or now frontline doctors and whatnot, or frontline nurses that need food right now, are unable to leave their offices because COVID has, I don't know if it ever went away. It's just spiking again. So their job continues.
Yes, spiking all over the country.
Yeah.
And
then, by the way, and then Plant-Based Party is basically, it's happening again this weekend. And it's basically, you can either cook your own vegan meal, or you can go to a vegan restaurant and just put a hashtag plant-based party, and then it sort of helps to increase veganism in general, or increase the number of items or of food that vegans and other people see. But it also helps the restaurants. People say, oh, I want to be part of this. I want to go to a vegan restaurant near where I live, and I want to find that vegan restaurant on Happy Cow, and I want to be part of this. So that you can put plant-based party on your hashtag, and you can take pictures of your vegan food, whether it's at a restaurant or at home.
Well, so much to unpack here that I love. And of course, we're going to get into Happy Cow, because Happy Cow is really the original app, the original website for all vegans around the globe to find vegan options, either in non-vegan restaurants, or find the entire package, the whole vegan restaurant, whenever they're traveling and out and about. So of course, we love Happy Cow. But I love what you're saying about your hashtag being plant-based party. Don't forget to do that, folks, so that they can track this. And companies like Gardein are going to be giving up to $40,000. Chow Now is also involved. There's a bunch of supporters, of course, as you say, headed up by Maggie Baird. So in this tricky time, it's great to feel like we can come together as a nation and as vegans and help people who need healthier options get that food in this time. So it's going to go on Friday through Sunday. Don't forget to do your hashtag plant-based party. But like you said, Happy Cow is a supporter. So for those of you who maybe don't know, and I don't know how that's possible, because happycow.net has been really a lifesaver for so many. How did you, as one of the principals, come to create happycow.net?
Well, Happy Cow was created 20 years ago. We actually had our 20-year anniversary last year. It was Eric Brent who had the idea, and it was built over many, many years. About 10 years later, the apps came along, the Android and iPhone apps. And Happy Cow was a response to the inability or the lack of ability to have a good resource to be able to find vegan options around the world, vegan restaurants, vegan stores, farmers markets, just about anything vegan, even vegan professionals, vegan doctors. Now we've added that. So it makes it easier for people like myself. I've been vegan for 28 years now. And it makes it easier for people like us and people that are just looking for healthier items, veg options, vegetarian restaurants also, to easily find these options all over the world in your own neighborhood and internationally.
I love this. And it also creates community. And as you say, it helps people find vegan options in vegan restaurants around the world. But you also have on your website, Take the Veggie Quiz, and a veg community, and veg nutrition, and some other things that people might want to know about as they start to switch their lives to plant-based.
Sure. You say veg community. We now have advanced filters. We have some fast filters, which allow you to go on to Happy Cow, sign up for free, and find fellow vegans, vegetarian, veg-curious people to talk to right now. In fact, you could make new friends anywhere in the world right now using Happy Cow and the Happy Cow app. Which Ken
means after our show. He doesn't mean right now, people. He means after our show.
You could, you could if you really wanted to.
Don't do it. Just give me 40 minutes and then we'll do it. Okay.
Do it. Yes.
Well, I'm a fan, and you have saved me so many times. I love it that you've been at it for almost 2 decades. I mean, hats off to you. It's so wonderful. So here already, I have a comment from Joy Bramble that she says Happy Cow is her favorite app. Of course it is. It has literally saved vegans so many times. Sure. So you have a unique position as you are, finding all these restaurant options around the globe. Now we've seen veganism and plant-based lifestyle spike within the last year. And then I want to say double spike in terms of COVID, because a lot of people are putting together that meat-borne pandemics come from eating meat. Yeah. So I'm wondering if you could walk us through some of the trends and what you're seeing in the growth of of vegan options in restaurants, be they vegan restaurants or non-vegan restaurants.
Okay, you're hearing it first on this show because I just put together this data, and I had no idea what I was going to learn before I put this data together. So here it is. Again, first time. So what I've noticed is this. I did a chart where I pulled up restaurants on Happy Cow. I wanted to see how many restaurants closed as of March 1st. You know, it's a good time frame, March 1st to today. Yes. And I wanted to see how many venues were added. You know, I had no idea what I was going to come up with, but here's what I did come up with, which is interesting. I'll start with the bad news. Okay, there is some bad news, you could say. A lot of restaurants certainly have closed.
Sure.
We've had a number of closures. I can say that I've read a statistic, overall restaurants, that 50% of those restaurants who have closed, temporarily at least, are permanently closed now.
Are they? I thought they might be temporary. I don't know if you've
been out there recently to check out the restaurant market, but a lot of restaurants have closed due to COVID. Yes. I mean, of course. So I noticed Canada had the greatest number of closed venues, vegan. I'm not talking about vegetarian now. I'm focusing only on vegan now, and our site is very vegan centric. So there were 36 venues closed between March 1st and July, today. 36 venues closed in Canada. But 19 were added during that same time frame.
So hats off to anyone who's brave enough to say, it's COVID, I'm going to start a business, let alone a restaurant business.
Yeah, let's open up a restaurant during COVID when no one can go to restaurants in the U.S.
And hashtag plant-based party. So I hate to do this. We are going to run to break. We just gave a little tidbit of what's coming next.
There's a lot more coming.
A lot more coming. We'll be right back. Oh, everybody on LinkedIn and Jane Unchained, I'm so happy that you are with me. If I do my radio show, these breaks are super short and we're going to get right back into some fun statistics. And I love, Ken, that these are all new for you too. So it's fun for us.
As I'm reading them.
To discover them together. But hold on. It's the Elysabeth Alfano Show. I'm so happy to have you back with me. We are getting into it, folks, as Ken Spector, the principal at happycow.net, tells us for the first time what statistics he's put together from his site to see what's going on with vegan restaurants around the world. Ken, take it away.
Okay, as I said, Canada, of 36 vegan venues have closed from March until today, and 19 have been added. By the way, this is the bad news. Wait until you hear the good news, because I'm really shocked about this. Okay. So I know here's some other places where more vegan restaurants and veg stores have closed more than opened. Spain, 19 closed, only 13 have opened. Japan, 20 have closed, only 15 have opened. Australia, 22 have closed, 17 have opened. So that's just a general idea. Now, here's the interesting news. Okay. I'm just going to go right for the most interesting fact. In the United States, sadly, we've lost 88 vegan venues in the United States.
Oh, it's large. That to me is large. Yes.
88. Okay. But 99 have been added.
What? That to me is outstanding.
Crazy. Yes, it's bizarre. This is from March 1st to today. Okay. Now, here's the other statistic that's really interesting, and I'm just looking at it. So about a third of the countries, the big, more vegan-centric countries, have a net loss of vegan restaurants now due to closures versus openings. But 2/3 have a greater number of ads than vegan restaurants and stores have closed. So I'll give you an example. Let's go. I told you the U.S., 88 closed, 99 have opened. What about this one? In England, 25 have closed since March, but 46 have opened.
Oh, I love you, England. You're leading the pack.
What is going on here? Awesome. I mean, I have some ideas, which I'll get into, of why I think this is happening. But it's amazing. So let me just tell you. So overall, I did a net sum. Okay. 413 in my chart have closed. 517 have opened.
Oh my God.
A net of 104 more vegan venues on Happy Cow than there were before COVID started.
That's a 25% increase, give or take.
It's pretty unbelievable.
And this is in COVID times when it's difficult to start a
This is
business,
a
let alone
terrible time for restaurants.
this is
Terrible time.
it's bad for business, let alone restaurants where you can't even sit down and have food. That just tells you how strong these people who are either completely crazy, which I don't think, or how strong they think the business model is, that they want to be ready for post-COVID times because veganism is up so much. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and a lot of these places are mom and pop shops. You know that a lot of the vegan restaurants aren't big corporations. A lot of these are smaller restaurants, and they're more opening than closing during COVID.
I can't believe it. I have to say, we talked about this before the show, like, oh, hey, what kind of statistics can you come up with? But I didn't think it would be anything like that. Okay, so this is fantastic news for more vegan options, which we are seeing all over the place, more and more vegan options. And these are vegan restaurants.
These are purely vegan restaurants. We're not even talking yet about vegan options. That is exploding.
Well, let's get into it.
Okay. I mean, most recently, I mean, you mentioned KFC. By the way, I do have to say this. The KFC chicken is cooked in the same grease as is meat. So if you're truly vegan and you don't want that, now it's great what they're doing. I love what they're doing, but you do have to know that. And I don't want to hear any lawsuits or people going, you told me to eat that. But still, it's a vegan product. You're not supporting the meat industry by eating this product. And I'll tell you something, I did miss that fried chickeny taste of KFC for years, and pretty cool.
And you're looking good. I do have to say.
Exactly. But places like, Del Taco we've heard McDonald's. I have to admit, I had the vegan burger in Germany. They had this vegan burger at McDonald's.
Yes.
I didn't personally like it at all. I took a bite and said, I don't like this. But what's interesting is you have companies like Beyond Meat, who, as you said, penetrated China. Sao Paulo is now getting that.
Brazil.
I was down in Sao Paulo in March, right at the beginning of COVID, right? And I was down there speaking. And JBS, the largest meat processing company, created their own line of vegan meats, which are in all the stores in Sao Paulo.
Yeah.
It's amazing. This is a meat country,
Yeah.
So that was pretty amazing. But yeah, the penetration of meat products and dairy products, I don't know the exact figure. I just don't know. But it's growing exponentially. I'm going into restaurants right down the street and restaurants that never had vegan options before, and now they do. It's being led by vegan meat, followed by vegan cheese, followed by vegan other dairy. Those are the statistics. I actually have some exact statistics, which was, let me see this again, fresh off the press here. So plant-based meat sales were up 148% over the last year during the same time period. Plant-based cheese sales grew 95% over the last year during the same time period. Tofu and tempeh sales are even up, increasing 88% over the last year during the same period. So we're seeing just a major influx of these vegan products into restaurants and stores, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, it is astounding, actually, the kind of growth that you're seeing, not just because of these large numbers, but the pace at which they're coming.
Yeah.
It's happening so quickly. You turn around and you're like, oh my God, meat eating Brazil is got JBS putting out its products.
Yeah.
I think it's called Plant. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
I'll tell you why I forgot. I was actually at their booth at an event down that I was speaking at, and I actually didn't like their vegan meats very much. I'm actually kind of a fan of vegan meats. I love Beyond Meat. I mean,
Me too.
But I wasn't a fan of theirs. They had this kibe, which is like a vegan meat in Brazil, and it was pretty good. But the rest of their vegan burgers were not that good. I think Beyond Burger has a great chance down there. By the way, that data is from Plant-Based Food Association, showing the increase of vegan plant-based products.
Yeah, and they're a wonderful group, as is Good Food Institute. Yeah. Both of them have lots of great stats. In fact, here's a stat that I got from the Good Food Institute. This would have been a stat in 2019 for the 2018 year. At that point, vegan options were at 11% penetration in restaurants around the country. I believe it was just for the United States. So very interesting that non-vegan restaurants were starting to carry more and more vegan options and using the word vegan. Yeah. So I also read, and this I read from China Daily at the end of 2019, they were saying that the word vegan, so not even the options, but the word vegan had an 11% penetration on restaurant menus, which I think is interesting. That people are, it shows culturally the mindset that people are starting to think about things differently.
Yeah, I actually did a video on our YouTube channel, the Happy Cow YouTube channel in Poland, one of the vegan capitals of the world now, as I see it. And 5 years ago, Warsaw, Poland is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Check out my video if you want to see what happened in Warsaw, and it's exploded. Now, I went back to Warsaw last year. Actually, I didn't go back to Warsaw. I went back to Poland last year. I went to a number of cities.
Now, hold on to your bootstraps, because we have to do that commercial break thing again. Gosh darn, it's so annoying. But we are coming back, folks, to talk about all the vegan hubs around the world. It's Warsaw, Poland, but it's not just Warsaw, Poland. So you want that top list? Hold on to your bootstraps. We'll be right back. Ken, you've got such great information. This is so awesome. Oh my gosh. We're going to pick up this conversation so shortly here. I love that you're just a wealth of, it is the Plant-Based Business Hour. So you got to have your numbers ready, but I love that you have everything just at your fingertips. Here we go, folks. We're taping again. Hey, welcome back. It is such an exciting time to be vegan. I'm talking to Ken Spector, who's a principal at happycow.net. Oh, how we all rely on happycow.net to find us our vegan options and our vegan restaurants. Now let's see which cities around the world are the top vegan hotspots. Ken, tell us.
Okay, but before I do that, I wanted to finish the story I was just saying. So I went to Warsaw, Poland last year, and Krowarzzewo, which I talk about in my video, in the video that I did on the Happy Cow YouTube channel, we were talking about Krowarzzewo and having a great vegan burger there. Well, now they actually carry the Beyond Burger there as well on top of that. So, you were talking about just veganism growing around the world. It's in other countries now, they're getting all the vegan products. In China, they're getting all the vegan products as well. So it's really an exciting time to be vegan.
It really is. And I do think there maybe, you can set me straight, maybe a misconception that people think like, oh, America is leading here. And I do think in many ways, and specifically in business innovation, veg tech, I like to call it, we are definitely leading. Absolutely. Yeah. It's one of our specialties as a business nation. We've always done that.
True. But actually, number one is Germany now.
Oh, in innovation.
Germany has the greatest export of vegan products these days. It used to be the UK and Germany. Now it's Germany. So, hats off to Germany and hats off to vegans and all the other vegan businesses over in Germany.
Well, so that's...
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. So that's what I was going to say. So we're big on the innovation front, but we're not necessarily the leader around the world. So I was going to say it was the UK, but here you're telling me now it's Germany coming from behind.
Yes, Germany is number one. So let's get to the top 10 vegan cities in the world. Number 10 is Prague. Prague's
love that
city. I remember when we were there were a lot of loving huts, and there still are a lot of loving huts, but the variety is great food, inexpensive for most people to buy food there. Number 9 is Tel Aviv. I did a video in Tel Aviv, I think last year or the year before. I counted down the top 5 vegan restaurants in Tel Aviv, and they were terrific. So you can check those out. Number 8 is Bangkok. Oh, I love the food in Thailand, whether it's a vegan restaurant or just vegan options. They have some of the best food in the world, and it's inexpensive. Bangkok, a great city, and Thailand's a wonderful country to go if you're a vegan. Portland, Oregon in the United States is number 7. Portland has, been on our top 10 since the beginning of our top 10s, I think. It's just an amazing vegan city. The next one is Warsaw, Poland, number 6. You can, within 2 square kilometers, you can go to about 50 vegan restaurants. Think about that.
Wow.
That's a lot of vegan restaurants on foot. So I love that city. I love the variety. I can't wait to go back to Warsaw. It's just a fabulous city for vegans. Toronto, I did. I think I did one video at least. Oh no, I did 2 videos in Toronto. I counted down the top 5 vegan restaurants in Toronto, and I also covered a veg fest over there. Toronto has some fabulous vegan food, and it's so what's really cool in Toronto is there are hot dog stands everywhere, and you see the word vegan on the hot dog stand. They have vegan hot dogs throughout Toronto at the hot dog stands. Walking down the street, you can get a vegan hot dog. Really cool stuff. Let's see here. Number 4 is Los Angeles. That's right now. Los Angeles has been in our top 10 forever. It's an amazing place. From vegan sushi to vegan Ethiopian places, or a number of vegan Ethiopian places, to just incredible variety. Fantastic place to go as a vegan. And then number 3 is Berlin. Berlin was a former number 1. Berlin is just a fabulous city for vegans. There are good. I don't even know how many vegan restaurants there are now. I think it's got to be. I mean, I have to check the new statistic. That's why I'm not giving any right now, because things are happening so quickly. Restaurants are closing and opening and closing and opening during COVID. So I'm not giving out those kind of statistics, yet. But when the dust settles, I'll be able to do that more. But yeah, great variety. I really enjoyed there. They had a vegan shawarma there, a vegan sandwich place that you can check out called Vonner. That was very memorable there. One of my first truly vegan places where I went, where the vegan meat was so believable that I had no idea I was eating vegan meat.
Sometimes New York freaks you out, it's so believable.
yeah, totally. And then New York City, again, a great vegan place. They've also gone through an incredible amount of, they've had an incredible amount of closures in New York due to COVID, the close proximity of that city. So, you can check out our top 10 vegan list on Happy Cow and see some of our recommendations of restaurants in these particular cities. I guess the easiest way would be to just Google Happy Cow top 10 vegan restaurants. So New York City, just great place to go. And number one is, what do you think it is?
London.
London is number one.
Yes.
London continues to take off. COVID or not, London is exploding. Yes. As I said, what do they have? A net, what was the net? In England, there's 25 vegan restaurants closed and 46 opened in England, even though they've had a terrible COVID crisis.
Yes.
So, but London is just incredible. Even in the subways, you can see like a vegan bakery pop up in the subway in London now. It's just a dream for vegans there.
Well, it seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like London specifically, but perhaps all of the UK has really made the mental shift. A lot of people in the US, I still feel like, great, we've got our cities like Portland, Los Angeles, Brooklyn, or New York, and they're standing out. Okay, but I feel like the country as a whole maybe is starting to hear about something environmental about it, but don't bother me right now. It's COVID. There's a lot going on. I can't take more information kind of thing. I don't feel like the country as a whole has made that shift. In particular, I make that note because slaughterhouses were able to get away with such, insert swear word, bad behavior.
Wait, did you want me to insert the swear word?
No, because we can't do it because it's radio, but I'll let everybody in their own mind at home include their swear word, get away with such bad behavior vis-a-vis their own employees. And the country didn't say boo. The country didn't stand up for them. That's very odd to me.
Well, in these meat processing plants, the workers work 12-hour shifts, 10 to 12-hour shifts in close proximity to each other.
Yes.
I don't know, in the Tyson plant, did you see how many people got COVID in the Tyson plant? It was astronomical, the number of people who were getting COVID, because they're all working right next to each other, of course.
And then they're touching your meat. Folks, you got to put this together. How could this be good for you? Right, of course. Yes. And then, I'm sorry, one more thing, Ken, just because it makes me so upset. And then that meat goes into a cold refrigerator, which helps viruses last. Cold helps them last. So it's so bad for you folks. Start putting that together. Okay, go ahead.
Exactly. The Tyson plant in Indiana had nearly 900 coronavirus cases at the beginning of May. And that's 40% of the workforce at that location.
Yes.
Think about that. That's incredible.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And it's very incredible to me because I do feel like we're moving into a time of the consumer where the consumer's starting to say, whether it be COVID information or masks or their food supply or their meat supply, they're starting to say like, hey, I'm sick of this. I don't believe anybody. No one's here really helping me. I'm going to start to take matters into my own hands. And I think that's a great thing for consumers as they advocate for themselves, for their health and their options in their food supply. Because as we talk about on this show, you cannot have a healthy and safe future if you don't have a healthy and safe food supply. And that's got to be plant-based foods. It's not going to be meat and dairy, that's for sure. So I think people are starting to take things into their own hands. But I was amazed that people sort of said, go ahead and produce meat in that way for those workers and for us, and we'll accept it. I was surprised.
You're very surprising. Now, the good news is this. It used to be where if you were to buy vegan meat, you would buy it in the sort of the refrigerated section. You'd open up the refrigerator and you'd see all the vegan meat in one location. Now things are changing, and it's helping the stores like Kroger, for example, a mainstream store here in the United States. What they've done is they've taken the vegan meats like Beyond Meat, Impossible, or mostly Beyond Meat. It's Impossible in Kroger. I don't even know, but I know Beyond Meat is. They're moving the meats into the meat section. And what that's doing is that's increasing tremendously the number of people who are buying these vegan meat products. So it's helping the stores as well. Now, meat sales have gone down partially because meat prices, or beef is 15% higher due to COVID. Why is it higher? Because now they have to separate these workers, these 10 to 12 hour shift workers. They have to separate them, and there are just fewer people on the line. So that's going to increase the price of meat. Okay, which it is. That's helping that and having the vegan meats in the same section as regular meats is really helping the vegan meat industry. Now, consumers purchased 23% more plant-based meat products under this approach of moving the vegan meats into the traditional meat section. That's really cool. People can side by side compare. And once you get to economic parity, I think it's all over.
Okay, so there's so many things to unpack there. First of all, thank you to the Plant-Based Food Association, who not only put forth that study, but gives us these statistics. If I'm not mistaken, that's where you got yours. Okay, so I will riff on that and I will say, yes, overall, 23% increase when you actually give people the food where they expect to see it. But it's higher in the Midwest. It's 32% where they're showing that they don't get serviced a lot for the demands that they have. They want also to have a healthy lifestyle. They're also putting together that meat-borne pandemics come from meat. Yeah. They're also looking for plant-based options even more so. And it's going up 32% in the Midwest, which I think is so great. But even more great than that is this is showing grocery stores cha-ching, cha-ching, which is why I do this show to help people realize that plant-based foods are a very effective business model and rewarding business model. So I would hope, first of all, Kroger is good enough to do the study with the Plant-Based Foods Association. So shout out to them. But I've got to think other grocery stores are saying, oh, sure, I'll take a 23% increase in sales. That works for me.
Absolutely. And why, as a consumer, would you want to support workers working on a line? Yes. My belief is that these workers do not want to be working 10 to 12 hours on a shift in that close proximity with another worker. They'd much rather be working at a vegan meat company.
Yes. And we're seeing that take place. So Tofurky has really been hiring. I mean, business for plant-based foods is up so much that you're seeing a lot of hiring. And you're also seeing, hopefully by now it's done, there might have been a delay with COVID, but Light Life, it is funded by Maple Leafs, which is a meat company, but Light Life, longtime vegan company, 40 years. They just built a plant in Indiana, right in the heart of meat slaughtering, animal agriculture, that is going to employ something like 420 people. And you're going to get households. Now imagine a household of 420 people. That's about 1,800 people are now dependent on a plant-based paycheck. And when people get their paycheck from plant-based foods, I think you're going to see things shift, which is cool.
And did you see the announcement from the Canadian Prime Minister about putting money into vegan alternatives? That was incredible.
How about that? Go, Canada, go. Oh my God, it kills me again to go for a break. But when we come back, we've got some tips for you. I'll be right back with Ken Spector of Happy Cow. This is fun, Ken. Yeah. You're giving us some really good information. I'm very excited about this. Everybody who's with me every week when I do my radio show, you know that this is our last segment. And then Ken and I can just be cool and chill and riff about all your questions and other things. So here we go, folks. It's our last segment. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Elysabeth Alfano Show. It's the Plant-Based Business Hour today on my show because things are heating up in the plant-based vegan world. Okay, so we've been talking about a lot of statistics today with Ken Spector, who's a principal at happycow.net. It's where everybody goes to find their restaurant suggestions for vegan options. Ken has been vegan for, I think you said, Ken, 2 decades?
More than 2 decades, 28 years since 1992.
Since 1992. Okay, let's stop doing the math on that one. Okay, since 1992. So we've got some top tips today. Ken and myself going to give you 5 each of what to do if you're a new vegan. You're seeing all these exciting new products come out. You're thinking, oh gosh, meat, maybe it's not so healthy for me. You're starting to shift, but maybe your family or your community hasn't quite yet got the memo and you're getting a bit of pushback. So here we're going to go back and forth. Ken, what's your number 1 tip for somebody who's receiving some pushback about going vegan?
Okay. One of the big ones that I've heard is it's not natural because you're not getting B12. And the way I come back to that one is, well, yeah, I supplement B12 and my vegan friends also supplement B12. But does that mean that every other component in meat is good for you? So because you're eating meat, it's good for you. It's good for the environment. So just because a product doesn't have, or a diet doesn't have one element that another diet had, does that make the other diet better for you? So the fact is meat has so many things that we don't want to eat. I did an interview with Dr. Michael Clapper, which you can check out on our YouTube channel, on Happy Cow YouTube channel, which he talks about all the terrible stuff that's in meat. So I'd much rather supplement B12 than to eat meat or drink dairy.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll say, don't be thinking that your meat has B12. The animals themselves also get supplements of B12
Sure.
because the soil isn't rich enough for either animal or human to be getting B12 directly from the soil, which is how we used to do it. So I love
And
how
from
you
water,
roll.
well water too.
I love how you roll. Okay. I say live your best life. People, it's show better than tell. So, when people are, dissing on you, just be your happy, smiley self, live your best life, be out there exercising. You're at the gym, just play your best game and people end up following. Okay. Ken, what's your tip 3?
I'm going to go along with that there's a myth that I always hear. Oh, you can't. I hear guys say this all the time. Oh man, I'm never going to become vegan. I don't want to be skinny and scrawny.
Oh, please.
And I point to this guy, Patrick Baboumian, who I also interviewed on our Happy Cow YouTube channel.
How I love him.
When he was vegetarian, he didn't feel well. He went from he went from a meat eater to vegetarian for a long time. It wasn't until he became vegan that he got his world records, lifting all of this incredible amount of weight. And he goes over his diet in my video. And I recommend you watch that if you are a bodybuilder and you want to keep your muscle mass. So, don't think that you're going to be a skinny, scrawny person because you're vegan. You can just eat more food.
Yes, I totally agree. I've also interviewed Patrick Baboumian, and he tells me some really heartwarming stories about his career. So yeah, you got some videos to watch there, people. Okay, tip number 4. I always say, again, it's show, don't tell, cook for people. Cook for people. So you got your vegan recipes that you like, or you've got your Beyond Meat burger at your favorite restaurant. Just bring the party to the vegan food. Everybody loves to try good food, and vegan food, let's face it, is good now. So I say cook people or bring the food to them. What's your tip number 5, Ken?
Okay, I hear people saying this too. And I know these are negative things, but I've heard a lot of negative things about the vegan diet. It's true. You'll die early. And I think die early. Okay. So I've been vegan 28 years. I got my blood tested constant, once a year at least. And I don't have any deficiencies and I'm fine and I'm a healthy guy. So, I guess I've lived that long and I know that I've been vegan that long. I know that I haven't slipped and eaten meat or dairy or whatnot. So the fact is there was a Massachusetts General Hospital. They monitored more than 130,000 people for 30 years. And they found that vegans were considerably less likely to die at a young age than people who ate meat, eggs, and dairy-based food. So
yeah, that's just factually incorrect, folks. That's just wrong. My number 6 was tell people that you feel great, because, people don't feel good a lot of the times. And now we're under incredible stress. And, when you have a diet that is very high in inflammation, which is what meat and dairy does, you're not going to feel great. So I always tell people I feel great. So I'm not here to really debate it for you. I feel great. And that's the end of that. What's your tip number 7?
Okay. Calcium. Need cheese for calcium? You need dairy for calcium, right? Wrong.
No.
In fact, the dairy from calcium is not as assimilable as is from kale or green leafy vegetables. It's twice more absorbed when you eat the kale and the green leafies. I mean, where is the cow getting its calcium? It's getting it from the things that it eats, the plant-based foods that it eats. So you can get calcium from all of these things. So you don't need cheese. I mean, I haven't had cheese for 28 years, probably longer, probably 29 years, and I'm fine.
Thank you. And you're still kicking. Well, good for you.
Still kicking.
My number 8 comes in at, I don't want to live my life in a way that doesn't align with my values. I'm not saying you have to do that for you. You do you, whatever. That's your gig. I'm not here to talk about you. But if you're asking me why I'm vegan, it's because I want my life to align with my values. And when I do that, I got a huge boost of energy. So it was a huge kick for me. What's your number 9, Ken?
Number 9? Can't get enough protein. We hear this all the time. It was really interesting. I was at a traditional HMO doctor years ago. He had a really big belly. And I told him I was vegan. And he says, that's a terrible thing. And I said, why? He says, well, where are you getting your protein? And I didn't say anything, but this guy was very large. And the fact is that I asked him right away. I said, have you ever had a patient he was about to retire, my doctor. Have you ever had a patient who had a protein deficiency? Ever? And he said, no. I said, well, I mean, why do you think it's dangerous to be on a vegan diet if you've never had anyone come in? He goes, well, maybe I haven't seen vegans. The fact is we get plenty of protein. In fact, in the standard American diet, we get way too much protein. So, look it up, look up the facts. The facts are on your side. There's a tip.
Yes, I love that. Thank you for saying that. Look up the facts. The facts are on your side. Ultimately, you are the only one who is really looking out for your own health. So if you want to feel healthy, which means feel better, you have to advocate for yourself. As Ken is saying here, not all doctors get nutritional information in medical school. You have to advocate for yourself first, and that means your health. My number 10 coming in as sort of like, I'm done having this conversation with you because it's so ridiculous that sometimes when I just can't talk to people anymore about it, I just say like, look, you do you. But for me, colorectal cancer is not my gig. So that is my number 10. Everybody, I just want to thank Ken for being here. Ken, it's so fun to have you with me.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate your time.
I really do. Oh, Ken, don't go away because we got the after show for the Plant-Based Business Podcast. Those of you on WCGO who want to hear more from Ken, you got to go get the Plant-Based Business Hour podcast. It is on iTunes and Spotify and iHeartRadio and everywhere. And of course, you got to go to happycow.net because it's going to have all the answers for you in terms of finding your hotspot vegan place, as well as lots of nutrition tips. You can see how many nutrition tips Ken gave us today. So just quick, we've got like 30 seconds. What's new that we can expect from Happy Cow, if anything?
Right now, we're just dealing with, a lot of COVID stuff. We're trying to support, local restaurants, supporting Black-owned businesses. That also was going on during this time. We're trying to build community. People are really lonely. I've not met so many depressed people as I have the last few months, vegans or not vegans. So we want to build that community. We want to continue to build that. We want to continue to make Happy Cow the best resource in the world to find vegan, vegetarian restaurants, stores, and more vegan professionals, and build community. I mean, that's what we want to do.
Everybody, I leave you with community, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Oh, hey, everybody. We can kick back because now the radio show's over. Oh, Ken, that's so good. You gave us so much good information. I just love that. And Happy Cow has always been a community. It's always, I can't tell you how many times I've been at parties or whatever, and people say like, thank God for Happy Cow. I never would have been able to go on that business trip or this thing if somebody, if Happy Cow wasn't there.
Well, it's also about finding vegan restaurants nearby. A lot of people think it's a travel app. I have found so many vegan restaurants right here where I live that and once you get to a certain level, you can start to, once you start to delve into the app, you realize there's a lot more to it than you think. Mm-hmm. You can create trips, and in the trips you can add different vegan restaurants or vegetarian restaurants or any restaurant you want to add on Happy Cow. And then you don't need to be online. You can be offline. And you don't need internet. You can just walk around the city with your Happy Cow app, and it'll guide you to restaurants. So that's a really neat feature to have. But yeah.
Yeah, it really is such a tool for community. I do love that. I'd love to get to know you a little bit better. We said that you went vegan 28 years ago. I don't know if you can remember this now, but what was the moment where you said, that's it, no meat, no dairy, I'm never going back?
Okay. So when I was in high school, actually it might have been being a little bit before high school, meat and flesh products were talking to me. I remember clearly in a restaurant ordering lobster, and I remember opening up the lobster and there was this green goop in the lobster.
Oh yeah.
And I looked at it and I said, Mom, what is that? And my mom says, I think it might be a pregnancy. Like, what? I said, oh my God. I didn't know what it was. I thought, disgust, no more lobster. Okay. Chicken. I remember getting a vein of chicken, like a vein in my teeth. And I remember pulling it out, just going, oh my God, this is disgusting. The meat and flesh was talking to me and saying, this is disgusting. Yes. And so I started to eat salad bar in high school. And, we had a salad bar at our high school, and I would just get salad bar every day for lunch. But yet I was still eating hamburgers because it was so processed that you really, and I remember thinking, I need the protein. I remember every time I bit into a hamburger, I just said to myself, I need the protein. I have to do this. Mm. And then I was 1992. So at 1992, I finally realized I gotta stop this. And what happened was I read a book called Fit for Life, which was by this guy, a physiologist named Dr. Diamond, and his wife. And they wrote this book that a lot of people have maybe refuted some of the things that they've said, but it really stuck with me because what they said is, I don't even know if they used the word vegan in their book, but they said, eat fruit in the morning because you're dehydrated at night. And this is what you should do. And I said, this sounds good. I'm going to do it. And I never looked back after that.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how there's one moment in time and you can kind of pivot? I think it's also, once you start to feel good, you sort of say to yourself, why would I ever want to go? Why would I want to do that again? Well, okay. So now with Happy Cow, I'm wondering in this very strange time as we go back and forth, if you have any predictions for the near future. So we all think that, the world is going plant-based, which I do actually think we're going to see, Ken, in our lifetime, your lifetime and mine. I do think that that's possible. But in the short term, 3 to 5, do you have any really definite markers besides general growth that you see coming down the line?
I do. Here's a company for you, Perfect Day. Have you heard of them?
Yes, I have. Okay. Absolutely.
So Perfect Day is a really interesting company because what they've done is they've created dairy proteins, and they're also going to be creating other products as well, but dairy proteins, whey, casein, that are DNA identical to the products that they replace. So you're getting actual cheese that stretches. You're getting, the one thing I've heard that why people are still vegetarian, not vegan is, I need the cheese. I'm addicted to cheese. Well, coming soon is going to be cheese that stretches, cheese that is DNA identical or very close to it to cheese. So I see that coming right away. In fact, they just got funded for their Series C, $300 million.
Yes.
So, there's huge hype around that. And I think the near future is going to be companies like Perfect Day that are innovators that are taking plant-based proteins and turning them into products that are healthier or at a minimum healthier for the environment than what they replace. The other thing I'm seeing now is vegan seafood.
Yes.
I don't think any of us out there have ever tried a vegan seafood product that is totally believable, that a person who's eating salmon would say, this vegan salmon tastes identical to salmon. We haven't seen that yet. That's also coming. I tried for my first time, I remember last year.
Are you talking about a company in Canada for that?
Yeah, there's a company. Yes. There's a couple of companies that are coming out with brand new vegan seafood products that seem really interesting. Yeah. And I know that there's a huge market for that, but because our oceans are becoming depleted. What about PCBs and plastics in the oceans and overfishing and overpopulation? We got to move over to this plant-based diet sooner than later because our food supply is causing a lot of problems on this planet. So that's one thing. So Perfect Day. The other thing that I'm seeing is, or here's a trend that's happening right now. This is a weird trend that we noticed. Okay, restaurants that are meat-based restaurants are pooling together their vegan products. They're listing that pool of products as a separate restaurant and then doing delivery for that separate restaurant. That's a trend that's happening right now during COVID.
Wait, let me repeat that. See that I got that for folks. Yeah. So there are meat-based restaurants. They have a couple of options that are vegan. They're pooling together with other meat-based restaurants to say
No. They're pooling together within their own restaurant. So it's
within
like,
their own restaurant.
Let's use an example. John's Meat and Fish Restaurant. I've got 10 vegan items on my menu. I'm going to put those vegan items together. I'm going to call that John's Vegan Bistro. I'm going to list that restaurant online or, do it with like DoorDash or another company, a delivery company. And I'm going to deliver food from this new restaurant, which is actually my restaurant. But
online. It's just
know it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. So this to me has so much domino effect coming down the line because that person, if very smart, they're testing and they can say, I'm going to be able to read what kind of vegan business I get just alongside my meat business. Right. And I'm going to see where my profits come from and not a great profit margin in meat and dairy. So these are businesses that already struggle on very low margins. So I would think that restaurant is going to put a cha-ching. They're going to start seeing the numbers.
The other thing we're seeing is meat restaurants converting over into 100% vegan restaurants.
Yeah.
One of the weirdest ones ever was in Cambodia. It was a dog meat restaurant. And now they're fully vegan. That's weird.
That's the name of that restaurant? It's great.
I think it's called, I think it's Sabe Vegalicious. Let me make sure.
That is awesome, people. Okay, while Ken is looking up some statistics, I'm going to give you guys
Here it is. Sabe Vegalicious. Yes.
Sabe?
It's in Phnom Penh.
Wow.
They went from serving dog meat to vegan food in Cambodia.
Well, that's our dream. You really couldn't ask for anything better. That is exactly what we're out here for. And I want to encourage everybody. The reason this is happening around the globe is because customers are demanding it happen. So if you're looking for change to come from the top, it ain't ever going to happen. It's not going to be your doctors and it's not going to be your politicians. It comes from you. It comes from you and your dollars and saying, hey, I'm going to put my dollars here and not there. Hey, when I don't see the item I want on the menu, I'm going to ask. You can ask nicely, but ask, get your voice heard, spend your dollars where you want to see change, and you are going to see change for animals, the people, and the planet. That is just such good news. I'm going to be shouting that on social media. I hope everybody shares this interview because there's a lot here. So please be sharing on Facebook.
And that is a great tip that you just said, which I've been doing for years. I've been walking into restaurants that I am pretty darn sure has no vegan options. I walk in and nicely say, do you have a vegan cheese? No. Okay, thank you very much. I'm looking for vegan cheese. And I walk out. And I've been doing that for years, and it certainly helped the cause. I've done it in other countries as well. So when we ask, they start to say, oh, well, it's the fifth vegan today. They're the fifth person today who's requested vegan cheese. We better get vegan cheese on our pizza.
I couldn't speak loudly enough about this. I do the same thing. I walk into shoe stores. I mean, I'm walking to restaurants, obviously, but I also walk into shoe stores, credit card in hand. Hi, I need a couple of pairs of shoes. Where is your vegan section? We don't have a vegan section. Oh, I have to put my credit card back. Gee, I'm looking for vegan shoes. It's very impactful. And usually what happens is they scramble around the store and they say, well, hold on. I can look at every shoe and I can figure out which is vegan leather and which isn't, because there's a symbol that says no animal leather. And then they start putting together a vegan section for me, but then they're going to keep that vegan section for others. So your voice makes such an incredible difference. And in this time when we're all kind of stressed out and you feel maybe out of control of your life because you're not going to work and you're not sure about paychecks and all this stuff, here's an area where you can have deep impact and control. You control what you eat, you control what you buy, and you control the message that you leave with others. So, and Ken's helping us do that today.
Yeah. And the next level, by the way, is also the packaging. You know, there's so much plastic being used, especially during COVID. Every vegetables wrapped in plastic. That's going to change. It has to change.
Yeah, I see that from the investor standpoint. I interview a lot of investors and they're all talking about packaging. Like it's got to be the whole thing. It's the vegan food and the packaging. That's so it's sustainability for the planet and of course for animals and for our health. It's got to be the whole gig. Absolutely. So you're seeing such rapid change. I don't know if 28 years ago you ever thought it would come to this.
You know, I remember very clearly, 28 years ago, I remember going to a grocery store and getting early vegan cheese. And I remember it was literally a block of tofu with orange food coloring. And it had a little bit of cheesy flavor. I'm betting. I never really looked at the ingredients other than I saw that it was vegan. But I think they just put nutritional yeast in like tofu and added some salt. And it would cut like tofu. It looked like tofu, but it was cheese. And I thought, what is this? Now, I mean, as I said, we have Perfect Day that is about to be offering some amazing new products. They already offer their new vegan ice cream. I saw Brave Robot is their new offshoot, which they're offering vegan ice cream. Not cheap, but it is vegan and it's believable ice cream. So the products are changing. Things are changing so fast. I could never have believed this would have happened. I went from like the nerd to like the cool guy in the room, because then I was just an oddball. I mean, there were no vegans. I was living in Virginia. And I was a vegan, and I don't think I called myself a vegan. I was just not eating meat or dairy or anything. And it was a weird time and it was a lonely time. Now there's vegan events, or there will be after COVID is done. So.
Well, and even online, I mean, there is a strong community. It is a bond there. And of course, a lot of that comes from happycow.net, but there is a bond there in a vegan community. So I think you're even seeing that online. Okay, well, so usually I ask this question, given when people went vegan, I say, well, what do you wish you knew 10 years ago that you know now? And you can't say go vegan because that's what everybody says. But for you, I might say you can change that time frame. You can make it 28 years or you can make it 10 years or you can make it 5 years. What do you wish you knew then that you know now?
Okay, a couple of things. Number one, I wish I was more persistent about supplementing B12 because I know that it can cause deficiency. And I know some people, they just don't because they feel like they can. Some people believe that the vegan diet in of itself is good enough. And the fact is that no, I mean, you're not really getting a reliable source of B12 from your food. So I would say that's something that I wish, I'd done more of then. The other thing is that sometimes as a vegan, you might notice that your energy goes down or you might feel weird. What I also noticed is that I wear sunblock religiously. And I realized I just wasn't getting enough vitamin D. That weird lethargic kind of feeling went away when I started to supplement vitamin D. So you might say, well, you if you were eating meat, you'd get vitamin D. But I would say, well, again, I don't want to take in all that environmental catastrophe into me, all that animal cruelty into me, and all those other chemicals that are in meat into me. I'd rather just, supplement vitamin D3 alone. So I would say, those are the two supplements that I take. I think they're important to take, and especially in the winters. So those are just two things that I realized that I should have been doing that I wasn't doing. Now that I do them, I don't have that weird feeling anymore.
So I've had a different feeling. So when I went vegan, and I already have a lot of energy, I got a huge boost of energy, and I just didn't, and I'm 53, and I was like, well, hey, what the heck? This is great. Yeah. And then also I didn't realize the burden I had been carrying around by living a disconnected life, because I knew that factory farms were bad. I had seen the footage, but I was living in the Midwest, and I wasn't sure how to change my diet. I just didn't feel that I had the skill set given the community around me. I just couldn't put it together. Like, how's it going to work? Yeah. And then when I finally decided and put a stake in the ground, like, I'm going to find a way, because this doesn't align with my way of viewing the world. When I stood up for myself and my values, that huge weight went away, and I hadn't realized how heavy that weight was. So I got that really big extra boost. I'll say about B12 is a little plug here. B12 is sweet. So if you have a sweet tooth like me, I take B12 every day, because it's like, oh shoot, I really am not allowed to have candy, but I'll have B12. It's a little bit like a sweet tart. So if you want a sweet tart, just take your B12. It's like kicks it out for you.
The B12 I take is actually savory, and I actually like the taste of it. So I put it under my tongue, and it dissolves.
Ooh, mine's kind of sweet.
The other thing I was going to say, if we're talking about tips in general, is that when you just Google information, you have to understand that the results that are coming up on top are often paid for by the dairy industry, or are often paid for by the meat industry. So you might Google it and read 4 or 5 stories that say, oh, meat's good for you, meat's good. Keep looking. Don't just look at the top stories on Google. Go to Google Scholar and try to read some of those articles about what's really going on. Because, I've learned so much, and Google can lie in terms of they can make things seem believable because they're the first search result. The first search result just means that a company may have great SEO to get their article on top of the heap, or they may have paid for a Google ad. You have to know that.
They paid to be on top. Yes. And a great barometer is, if you want to try this, just sit tight, wait it out 3 weeks, and then you decide how you feel. You see how you feel, and then take it from there. Okay, so you seem like a pretty happy person. You certainly have a lot of energy. But in the event you're having a bad day and things don't come together, I wonder if there's a phrase that you say to yourself to kind of get yourself back in the game.
Oh, I do. Simplicity. Just stay focused on what you're doing now. I used to be very, very nervous when I was interviewed. I used to interview celebrities, even though I was nervous doing it. I realized the one thing that I was doing wrong is I wasn't present. If you're present, you don't have time to be unhappy. If you're here right now, there's no time. You're just giving yourself enough time to accomplish the pragmatic aspects of life that you need to do right now.
I love that. I love that you say that. When you're in the moment, you can only be thinking about the moment. So you don't have all that time to lament, like, oh gosh, things aren't going my way.
Getting nervous. Yes.
Yeah, or get nervous. I love that. I love that. Okay. Well, you know that I have to ask you this question. It's always my exit question, but it is particularly relevant to you. Say you're flying around the world, you're super busy. What is your go-to snack?
Go-to snack? I mean, I'll just say mangosteen comes on the top of my head, because whenever I can get them, I eat mangosteens. But my go-to snack is often just like grapes. I eat grapes, like red grapes or different varieties of grapes. That's a go-to snack for me. It's high in water content, and it's kind of has that crispy, nice feeling to it. That's my go-to snack.
Super delicious. My go-to snack changes all the time. And right now I'm on a dried jackfruit craze. I found a huge bag at Costco, and I was like, so I've been busy that. And then maybe I have to say my Beyond fried chicken. Maybe that's my new snack. I don't know. Yeah. But I love that KFC is on top of it. And of course, always thank you to Beyond Meat.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and these companies, by the way, the other vegan meat companies, it's only going to get better. Wait until Beyond Meat goes into Sao Paulo and has to compete with JBS. JBS is not going to do well when they're competing against Beyond, but they're going to have to up their game. So all this competition is just making things better and better and better until, the meat industry is going to collapse.
Yes. And so now you're talking about, again, this is why I do the plant-based business hour. So now you're talking about healthy competition. So the products are going to get better. The efficiency is going to get better. Unlike meat and dairy that have been subsidized with tax dollars, they have no incentive to get any better. And there is no getting better. Meat is meat. There's nothing more to do about that. The rest of us are creating food supplies for the future. So it really is a very exciting time. And I will say, shout out to JBS. So not only do they have this new product line, which is very good. So this is really what we want, folks, is we want the large meat and dairy companies to start shifting their product lines. But in addition, if I'm not mistaken, they have a new innovation center that they've created. So it looks like they're in it for the long haul, not to have one trendy burger and get in and get out, but they look to be creating products for the long haul. So I'm impressed by that.
They had 5, I believe. They had a full line of vegan products in March when I was down there. I tried them all. So I was at their booth. I tried the JBS product line, and I wasn't that impressed. I told them that. I said, once you try Beyond Meat, you're going to realize that you're going to have to work on this. But the fact is, they are working on it. That's what's great about all this.
They're committed. Yeah. Yeah, and they're committed, but they're also business folks, and they see the writing on the wall. We're going from 7 billion people to 10 billion people, but we're not getting more land and we're not getting more water. So you do the math. That's how it adds up. Ken, I've had so much fun. I hope that you will come back because I do this show twice a week, but every 3 months or so, I like to do an analysis of the market, where we are, what's changed, and you are really a go-to guy for that. So I do hope that you'll come back because this has been a lot of fun.
Sure,
you're so kind.
Thank you so much for having me.
Everybody, happycow.net. We know the gig. You got to go there. Ken, don't go away. Everybody else, have a great weekend. I will see you next Tuesday. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.